And you know what? The irony to all of this is that the very senators that voted against giving rail workers 7 days of sick leave, they benefit greatly from the largesse of the American people. Yet they don't want for other people's mamas and daddies, other people's grandmamas and big papas, other people's aunts and uncles and cousins, other people's family members and communities. They don't want for them what they themselves have. Shame on them, really. My stunt double had this to say. Senators who have unlimited sick days and make $174,000 off the taxpayers per year had the nerve, the pure unadulterated gall to vote against giving rail workers 7 days of sick time. Yeah, they did. And they did just that, all for the owner donors. More Perfect Union lays out in that vote in the Senate, who in fact voted 80-15 to force a contract on rail workers. And here are the senators who voted no. And as you can see by the list, certainly Senator Sanders is in that list. Senator Warren is in that list. Hell, you even see some Republicans in that list. And when Rubio and Rick Scott out progressive the progressives, come on now. You know the world is upside down. But this was the senators that voted against it. And it's Dems and Republicans standing strong on at least that part of it. The Senate voted 80-15 to force a contract on rail workers. I want to be very clear for the viewers. And here are the senators who voted no on forcing that contract vote. Very bipartisan. And then ultimately, when the rubber had to meet the road, there were 5 Democrats in the Senate that had the courage to affirm the rail workers' right to strike. And here they are. Warren, Sanders, Hickenlooper, Gillibrand, and Merkley. Everyone else, and I mean everyone else in that Senate, voted against the workers. Jordan.
Look, we're both from Ohio. So where's Sherrod Brown?
Oh yeah, who's always talking about the dignity of work. I'm sorry, Jordan, I had to throw that in because that was his line, the dignity of work.
Yeah, he loves to pat himself on the back as a pro-union guy. Come on, man, this is your moment. This is a layup. I'm tired of people, siding with unions and siding with workers when it's convenient or a nice political backdrop when they're running for office or running for re-election. But in moments like this, you see who they truly are. This is a total layup. I mean, he whiffed. If we're gonna keep going with the basketball analogies, I guess this is an air ball for Sherrod Brown. Just deeply disappointing, and yeah, I guess very reflective of the problems in Congress and who they serve at large.
Well, you were kind calling it an air ball, but truly. Like none of these people should talk about how they stand up for workers ever again. They have lost the right to do that. And I hope the House of Labor across the board never forget what just happened to the rail workers. And this is really history repeating itself. Let's take a look at what Professor Harvey Kaye tweeted a couple of days ago. I know they are quite different still. 1981, former Union President Ronald Reagan versus the air traffic controllers. And in 2022, pro-union Joe Biden versus railway workers. Absolutely, history repeating itself. And the exploitation of labor, of the Labor Management Reporting and Disclosure Act of 1959. Let's take a look at this. Union busters became stronger after the law was enacted. Through a loophole, there's always a damn loophole, isn't it? Union busting consultancies were able to continue assisting employers in a different, more subtle approach to undermine the fabric of workers' rights. These consultancies and law firms take advantage of weak labor laws and ineffective regulatory agencies to bust unions right and left, instead of having employers ask the governor to call out the National Guard. That is Kim Phillips Fain writes this in Mother Jones. That is the absolute truth. And the next point, that we want to make here. From 1983 to 2020, union membership rates in the private sector fell from 16.2% to 6.3%, even though for more than 80 years, public support of unions has never dropped below 48%. You know why we're losing unions in the private sector? Because these corporatists are putting the hammer and the screws to workers. They don't want them to be unionized so that they can collectively bargain together, because there's strength in that kind of solidarity. And the federal government is complicit in assisting these folks to put the hammer on workers. Now, they are coming for rail workers. It's obviously, they already came for them at an egregious level. And I want you to watch a speech that I made on the floor of the Ohio Senate in 2011, which resonates to this day. It was over Senate Bill 5. Jordan, I'm sure that you remember Senate Bill 5 when the Republicans in the legislature in Ohio were coming after workers. They kept out the firefighters and the police officers because they didn't want that smoke. But thank God the firefighters and the police officers said, it doesn't matter that you don't have us in this bill. We are gonna stand in solidarity with our sisters and brothers and our family and friends who are named in this bill. But this is what I stood up on the floor of the Senate and said in 2011.
They came for teachers, and I did not speak out because I was not a teacher. And then they came for nurses, and I did not speak out because I was not a nurse. And then they came for our administrative assistants, our bus drivers, our child care workers, our computer operators, our correction officers, our custodial workers, our customer service assistants, our electricians, our equipment operators, our food service workers. They came for them, but I was not any of those. And I did not speak, but when they came for me, there was no one left. We cannot go back, and we won't go back. Dr. King said that the arc of moral justice is long, but it bends towards justice.
Wow, the arc of the moral universe, I was on the road there, is long, but it bends towards justice. That was a moment. And thank God in the state of Ohio, we have power of referendum, because the Republicans had super majorities in both chambers. Jordan, as you remember, they passed that bill, but we, the collective we, and that is the House of Labor, was able, and people who support the House of Labor were able to go out and collect signatures and put it on the ballot. And the people of the great state of Ohio voted overwhelmingly to overturn the decision of the legislature. And that happened in households that were not unionized, because what we were able to help people to understand in the state of Ohio, that they coming for those workers and they coming for you next. And that is the situation right now with what just happened to the rail workers. Now, Jordan just explained to us today, to each and every one of us, that President Joe Biden has the power right now through executive order to turn all of this around. It shouldn't have even happened in the first place. So folks should be mad as heaven and hell. Pick your place. But we should be mad. Our hair should be on fire over what happened to those workers, because it's only a matter of time before they come for the rest of us. This is a stain and a blemish on this country, on that Congress, and on this presidency.